Hi, I'm James Carey, and I'm starting a new series, Young Republican of the Month. And I have here with me today what could be the youngest PVA in state history, and is definitely the youngest Republican on the ballot in this primary.
I'm Nathan Randolph. I'm from Franklin, Kentucky, a lifelong resident, and I'm running for Simpson County PVA.
Awesome. It's good to have you here with me today, Nathan. The first question that I wanted to ask is what first got you interested in getting involved with politics and public service?
Okay, definitely a long family history. I remember the times when my grandfather would talk to me about even going back to like the Roosevelt elections um, and then just a strong love for history and I started when I was 17 years old. I worked the polls just about every election cycle and have always been really civically engaged and civically minded and um, just decided that now is the time to step up to the plate.
That's awesome. That's good to get involved young and stay involved, and starting out that early and then running for office as young as you are is quite the impressive.
Well, thank you,
So
James.
so what made you decide to run right now and step into this race?
Well, when I started exploring the opportunity to run, I thought that my resume lined up with the job and I thought I could do a good job. And I sat down with several of our local elected officials, and the best advice that was given to me was, do you feel that you are the best qualified or you are the best candidate to be able to fulfill this role at this time?
Hmm.
And so after much thought, I said that I don't like or I have disagreements with how things are being run, and I thought I would jump in and offer people an alternative and the reasons why we need to pursue that. And so that's why I decided to run.
Yeah. So can you give us kind of a very brief overview of what the PVA does?
Yes, so the Property Valuation Administrator, or short-term PVA, their job is to assess all the real property in your county. And so they are a locally elected official, but they're responsible for creating the property valuations used to determine your property tax bill that you receive in October and November on your real estate. And then, of course, you pay property tax on your vehicles as well.
So does the PVA set the tax rates, or is that totally separate?
No, the taxing districts, of which the school is by far the largest, set the tax rates, but the valuations that they're multiplied by are set by the PVA.
Gotcha. Awesome. So, what is something that you're going to try to come in and change or make better that kind of sets you apart from your other um, opponents?
Okay, so as somebody who grew up in the digital age, I understand how important business and real estate is changing. Used to people would to get real estate listings, they would look in the newspaper, or people would read the property transfers in the newspaper, and that's just not how business is done anymore. All of our realtors need access to information quickly to be able to serve their customers, and so I'm running to try to bring some digital solutions. I'm a big believer in self service because people don't have time to go and sit in a government office and wait for things to get done. They need to be able to have access to information at home and to be able to do their jobs.
So, how long does it take right now to pull a record uh, that you might need?
Sure. So for people to access property information, there is a website. Of course, it's behind a subscription fee that you have to pay in order to access it. And it may, if it's recently transferred, it may not be updated. And so if you have to go into the office, or you may have to send an email, but you have to reach out to the staff in order to get service now. That's how it is. And I think that that's great for people that need and expect that. I
Hmm.
want to be there to serve people. This isn't I'm closing the office and not welcoming people in. I want people to come in, but I also want people that need something just really quickly to be able to get it online.
So, would you say you said online now there's a subscription wall?
Hmm.
Do you think that you would have to increase that amount, or are you trying to get rid of that subscription? What's your plans to do with
Sure.
that kind of
So
thing?
I've examined the budget of the PVA office and I have determined that there is sufficient funding. They receive a stipend from the county and there's state funding for employees. There's the funding there to be able to make the records free and available to the public. And so that's what I plan to do. I think everyone should have access to public records. I don't see how I could justify charging someone for their own information.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Yeah. And then last question, just to kind of wrap up, that's not really related to the PVA, but more just getting involved in politics in general. What would you say to somebody that's maybe 17 or 18 and is just now trying to kind of establish themselves maybe in politics or get
Hmm.
involved in some capacity? What would you suggest they do?
I would suggest that you immediately get involved, contact your local party. It's so important that we get young people involved in the process. There is not one part of this process that is easy. It's messy, but it's worth it because the people that our elected officials serve are absolutely well worth it. And so that's what gets me up and gets me motivated is the people to serve and try to work to make their lives better. So
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for watching, and check out his profiles. We'll have those linked in the description. And if you have any comments or questions for him, post those as well, and maybe even some suggestions for the future months of who should be the Young Republican of the Month. And thank you, Nathan, for coming out today and joining us.
thank you all for watching.